Deshaun Watson to the Browns, fantasy football, implications and reverberations. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the Bowl Call Fantasy Football Podcast. This is a special rapid fire episode, rapid reaction to the Deshaun Watson to the Brown news. So let's get right into it. Fantasy football reverberations from this move far and wide. And I want to kind of cover all of it here real quick. So if you have not heard, Deshaun Watson has signed or has agreed to sign with the Browns for one of the biggest guaranteed money deals in the history of the NFL, $230 or $40 million guaranteed. The Browns give up 3 first-rounders, a handful of other picks to bring Deshaun Watson in. They keep all their players. So interesting in that perspective, as the Browns do now hold a trade piece in Baker Mayfield. It's going to be really interesting to see how that goes. But let's get right into some rapid fantasy football implications. Now, first of all, Deshaun Watson transforms the Browns franchise from essentially what was a pretty good team, solid defense, good running game, really trouble at the death to fantasy pass catchers, really. And not a spot where we had any interest in the quarterback or the pass catchers. Now into an exciting team. I had dropped Amari Cooper all the way down to a quote-unquote WR3. I believe I had him at WR25 prior to this move. As he went to the Browns are Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is a quarterback that kills fantasy prospects of any players around him. So now we've got Deshaun Watson over there paired up with Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper rises up to a top 12 fantasy wide receiver in my rankings for next year. Let's just pop them up here and see where we're at. We've got Amari Cooper at WR12, right? Sandwiched between DJ Moore, Mike Evans, T. Higgins. So right in that elite zone, which I love. Now, there's more than just the Amari Cooper, which is a very obvious implication, but another player I really love after this move is the Peoples wide receiver, Donovan Peoples Jones, who now gets a hike up to WR40 in the rankings. Deshaun Watson made Will Fuller a star for the games that Will Fuller was healthy. Donovan Peoples Jones plays a very similar role. I actually think he's a better version of what Will Fuller is, and certainly healthier. Deep play threat, speed guy, has the size, can go up and get the football. I love Donovan Peoples Jones now as one of the biggest sleepers of the season. You can get him very, very late in your best ball drafts anywhere. So yes, Donovan Peoples Jones, massive bump. One other player that's getting a massive bump from this news, and then I want to get into the quarterback reverberations, but one other player with a massive bump is David Njoku, who the Browns actually franchised this offseason. So David Njoku, Browns got rid of Hooper, no more Austin Hooper, no more competition. Now we've got David Njoku, who is like just at that right age where tight ends start to break out. He's 25, 26 years old. He came into the league as an athletic freak. He had a raw skill set that's been developing year after year. I love Njoku this year. He is the breakout tight end candidate of the year. If you're in dynasty leagues, trade for him quickly, rapidly, rapid reaction, guys. Rapidly react and trade for David Njoku. Why didn't they trade Baker? Good question. They will trade Baker. That's what the answer is. Hey, give him a minute. So we're going to talk. I want to talk about that as well, because the quarterback reverberations are huge from this move. So let's do a little bit of backing up here. What's going on with quarterbacks? So as Cullen, you mentioned here, or as Kenji mentioned, it was the Saints and the Falcons and the Panthers in the running. So we are left with 4 teams that lack startable quarterbacks. No, the Falcons are not in that mix. The Saints, they still need to get somebody in. We've got the Colts. They still need to bring somebody in. We've got the Panthers. They still need to bring somebody in, and Seattle. So what's going to go on with the quarterback situation for Seattle, the Colts, the Panthers, and the Saints? Well, here's what I think, and I'm going to make some predictions, guys. I'm gonna make some. By the way, the reason they didn't include him is because Houston didn't want Baker. Houston likes the guy they have in Mills, and Baker, they just didn't want him. My guess is they just didn't want him. It's that simple. So they said, okay, we'll trade Baker elsewhere, and they will get value back for Baker. So I want to talk about some predictions of what I think is going to happen with the rest of these teams. So I think it's very, very obvious that the Saints are going to get married with Jameis Winston. They had him last year. They like him. They've got Taysom Hill over there to fill in when Winston, if he's not ready for the start of the season. I think the Saints are going to just bring back Jameis and pair him up with Taysom Hill and go into the season like that. As far as the other teams go, Seattle, that's a mystery. I'm not sure what they're going to do, to be quite honest. With the Colts actually make sense as a destination for Baker Mayfield. I think that I think Baker Mayfield is not completely washed as a player. I don't think you have to fully give up on him. I think Baker Mayfield's basically a better version of what the Colts did last year with Carson Wentz. I think the Carson Wentz experiment didn't work because Carson Wentz, man, I don't think he was fixable, but I do think that Baker Mayfield still has potential. So yeah, there you are. I totally see Baker potentially going to the Colts. Now, what about the Panthers? They need a quarterback. So my prediction for the Panthers, and of course some of these teams might get rookies. You know, we've got Malik Willis and Pickett. We've got a few decent-looking rookies. But one of the guys who I think no one's really talking about, and again, if you're playing Dynasty Fantasy Football, go acquire him now before it's too late. I think Marcus Mariota makes a lot of sense for the Panthers. Marcus Mariota is free. You could just get him, right? He's a free agent. You don't have to trade. You don't have to give up picks. I think Marcus Mariota should be a starter somewhere in this league or should get a shot at a starting role. And I'm penciling him in for the Panthers. The Panthers need to win now. Matt Rule does not have a leash at all. It's a short leash, if anything. So look for maybe the Panthers to acquire Marcus Mariota, or I guess try to acquire a quarterback in the draft and hope for the best. Seattle, same deal. They could get a Mariota as well. I think those two teams are live for him. And again, I think it's Baker Mayfield likely. I love the idea of him going to the Colts. We've also got Jimmy Garoppolo floating around out there. So he'll make his way to one of these teams. It could be Garoppolo to the Panthers. I don't know. But Garoppolo's still floating around out there as well. Colin's asking about Jordan Love. I don't think Jordan Love is any good. I don't think he has anywhere to go. He's not a starter in this league. He was a bad pick by the Panthers, by the Packers, and I don't think that the Packers are going to trade him. They just keep Jordan Love as a backup. No, I don't. I don't think so at all on Jordan Love. I don't think he's a viable starter in the National Football League at all. From what I've seen, he's not very good. Just because somebody went, in the first round, it just doesn't matter. He has not shown any level of being a competent NFL quarterback. So I'm not on the Jordan Love train at all. I think he stays with the Packers as a backup. But the big one is expect Mariota to be picked up by either Seattle or the Panthers. I could see, like I said, Baker going to the Colts, and the Saints seem destined to get back together with Jameis Winston. A couple other interesting fantasy football notes in free agency, because it has been an incredible hot stove for the NFL. One of the most exciting NFL beginning of the free agency seasons I've ever seen. It's awesome. Every day, really great news. So Davonte Adams to the Raiders, mind-blowing, shocking trade. Don't know why the Packers would do this, but they get a couple of picks, a first and a second, I believe. Adams, I'm not adjusting him down that much in the rankings with the Raiders. I think he's going to be a target machine. Him and Derek Carr have a great past relationship, and I think he's going to be just fine. Davonte Adams is a very talented wide receiver, but of course, Cooper Kupp is the number one, and this doesn't help the case for Davonte Adams at all. What it does do is it lowers any sort of projection you might have for Aaron Rodgers this season. Aaron Rodgers, I have now dropped him to the middle of basically QB 16 or 17. He is not in a great spot. The one player that people aren't thinking about that will be positively affected by Adams departing to the Raiders is Aaron Jones, who has smashed in the past in any games where Adams wasn't playing. So look for Aaron Jones to be a really, really good bargain, assuming that the Packers continue to use him as they have. Another player that the Adams news will harm significantly, and if you listen to the bold call, you already weren't on this guy, but do not draft Hunter Renfrow. Please. That was a one-year wonder, guys. This is not the guy. He's going way higher than he should. He's going like WR23. It's funny. I actually laugh at people. Don't be one of those people that believes that Hunter Renfrow will repeat what he did. The whole reason Hunter Renfrow had the big year or the big end of the season last year was just they had no one else to throw to. Waller was hurt. There was no other wide receivers. They had to throw to Renfrow. That will not be the case this year. So do not get fooled by Hunter Renfrow. Lower him down your list. Another thing, I'm just looking at the comments with the Allen Robinson to the Rams trade. The Rams will not keep Woods. So don't expect this to be like what you're saying here, Kenji. Woods will be traded or released by the Rams. It's going to be Robinson and Cooper Kupp. If they bring back OBJ, great. If not, it'll probably be Robinson, Cooper Kupp, and Van Jefferson, I guess, as the trio over there. So I would not worry about Robert Woods. Expect Robert Woods to be traded or released. A couple other news items that I wanted to get to here. One other big one, I guess, is Juju Smith-Schuster to the Chiefs. I love this pickup for the Chiefs. They need a WR2 badly. I mean, he's coming in replacing Byron Pringle / Mecole Hardman in that role. The other wide receivers they put in that role have not been very talented. It was Pringle last year. It was Sammy Watkins prior to that. They've just tried to squeeze mediocre wide receivers into that WR2 role for years. It hasn't worked out for them. I think Juju is a step above Sammy Watkins and definitely a step above the Byron Pringle and the Mecole Hardmans of the world. I think Juju's a great spot. He's a guy that you want on your fantasy roster next season. He's not going to be a WR1, but I think he's a guy that you can get very, very late that will deliver 6 or 7 receptions every single week. He's a possession wide receiver. He's a very good route runner. He's everything that the Chiefs need as a complement to Kelsey and Tyreek Hill. So another great spot. I've moved Juju Smith-Schuster up to WR30 in my rankings, which of course you could check out. They're actually not behind the paywall on the DFSArmy.com website, right over here. Just click on Best Ball Rankings. We're constantly updating them. The hot stove has been insane this year, so changes happening galore. But you could see here we've got Amari Cooper as WR12. Mike Evans got bumped up with I forgot that. Of course, the Tom Brady re-signing. That was spectacular for Evans, and of course, spectacular for Gronk, who is now our TE5, and maybe he's probably going to rise up to TE4 for me by the end of the season. A couple other notes. Dalton Schultz, the Cooper Kupp to the Browns move shot both Dalton Schultz and CeeDee Lamb up to top 5 at their respective positions. They're going to be peppered with targets. There's David Njoku now, TE11, right after TJ Hawkinson. So lots and lots of fantasy reverberations from this free agency class so far. There's still a lot of exciting things to happen. Of course, we got James Conner, who's now going to be the prime guy for the Cardinals, and he's a great bargain in best ball leagues. And of course, we still have our NFL draft. Where's Breece Hall going to go? Melvin Gordon's going to sign somewhere. So lots and lots of exciting free agency news going on. Stick with this channel, Bowl Call Podcast. We've got you covered across the board. So like, subscribe, and, Watson to the Browns, baby. Exciting. We'll see you guys next time on another Bowl Call Fantasy Football Podcast. Take care, everyone.
Got the best coaches in the game, we really ain't playing. We regroup up in the Slack chat where the coaches debrief. We be piecing these puzzles, occupy the chunk of the pie. Ain't no lie when we hit the block, helmets, casket, and top. You be seeing helmet after helmet, helmet after helmet. First place, second place, fifth place, eighth place, 12th place, 15, 16, 20.